Welcome to the Stronghold Podcast, where we explore capability and truth. I'm your host, Dave Barton, and today in episode 35, Dragons, we're going to have some fun and expand our minds together. This topic was inspired by a recent social event where, to discredit Joe Rogan, a host of the show The View said he believes in dragons. Easily debunked by show transcripts and coming from this low EQ host, the public response was even more interesting. It turns out, if Rogan did believe in dragons, that people are interested and open for discussion. And I'm going to go over today why that should excite you and why that matters. So let's discuss this topic and the overarching thought exercise involved. Dragons. Myth, fossil, or forgotten history. Today we'll go on a brief journey through the mysteries of history, legend, and the unknown. We'll dive deep into the one of the most enigmatic questions of all time. Could dragons have really existed? And if so, why does it seem like there's been a conspiracy to cover it up? Stay tuned as we explore not only the fascinating fossils and myths, but also some chilling rumors about the great dragon cover-up. For centuries, stories of dragons have swirled across cultures. But what if these creatures weren't just figments of the imagination? Could there have been a deliberate effort to erase the evidence of their existence from history? Could there be a grand conspiracy at play here? Buckle up, because this episode may change everything you thought you knew about dragons. Let's start with the facts. Some of the fossils uncovered seem to point to the possibility of dragons, or at least creatures resembling them. In 2003, scientists discovered the Thanatosdrakon, amaru. It was a massive pterosaur in Argentina. Its wingspan was larger than any bird in existence today. Could this dragon of death, as it translates, be the key to ancient dragon myths? Now imagine this. Could there be more fossils of creatures like this hidden away in secret, classified by governments or powerful institutions to prevent a paradigm shift in our understanding? There are rumors, whispers in the scientific community that some fossils, particularly those that resemble dragon-like creatures, have been suppressed by governments. Why? Because the existence of dragons might challenge everything we know about ancient civilizations. And we can't forget that governments are sometimes quick to bury uncomfortable truths. Dragons are featured in countless myths across the globe. But what if these weren't just stories? What if the dragons were real? And the myths we know today were born from real encounters with massive, terrifying creatures. The Chinese dragons, revered and respected, the fire-breathing monsters in medieval Europe, are those stories? Or are they rooted in fact? Take the story of St. George and the Dragon. The legendary tale of a knight slaying a dragon may have been more than just a fable. Could it have been inspired by a real encounter with a giant reptile or even a surviving prehistoric creature? St. George and the Dragon is a legendary tale in which St. George, a Christian knight, saves the town from a fearsome dragon. In the story, a dragon terrorizes a city, poisoning the land and demanding daily sacrifices. At first, livestock is offered, but eventually the townspeople are forced to sacrifice their children, chosen by lottery. One day, the king's own daughter is selected. Though heartbroken, the king agrees to send her. as all others have sacrificed their children. As a princess waits near a lake to be taken by the dragon, St. George arrives. Upon hearing the story, he offers to help. When the dragon appears, George bravely confronts it. With a prayer to God and his lance in hand, he wounds the dragon and subdues it. He then uses the princess's belt to lead the now tamed beast back to the city. George offers to kill the dragon if the townspeople convert to Christianity. They agree, and after the dragon is slain, the grateful king builds a church on the site. A spring of healing water flows from its altar. While there are many churches dedicated to St. George around the world, including ancient ones in places like Lydda or modern-day Lod or Israel, where tradition holds he was buried, there is no confirmed historical church built as a result of the dragon legend. Some conspiracy theorists even argue that dragons were never fully wiped out. Could it be possible that ancient civilizations actually coexisted with these creatures? Or worse, that certain societies or secret organizations are hiding evidence of surviving dragons in remote, unexplored regions of the world? There are reports from all over the world, spanning centuries, of mysterious creatures resembling dragons being spotted in remote areas. Could some of these creatures have survived in modern times, only to be hidden away by shadowy organizations with a vested interest in keeping their existence under wraps? As we dig deeper into the mysteries of dragons, we uncover whispers of cover-ups, tales of governments and powerful corporations working together to suppress knowledge of dragons. There are rumors that ancient artifacts and fossils have been mysteriously lost or destroyed to prevent the public from learning the truth. One of the most talked about conspiracy theories involves the Nazca Lines in Peru. Some theorists claimed that these massive geoglyphs, which depict various animals, also include images that resemble dragons. Could ancient civilizations have drawn these creatures inspired by real, living dragons? And then there's the Mokele-Mbembe, a creature from Central Africa said to resemble a dinosaur, described as a living dragon by locals. Sightings have been reported for over a century, but no conclusive evidence has ever emerged. Could it be that governments are covering up its existence to avoid modern science in our understanding of prehistoric life? Some believe the Mokele-Mbembe is not just a creature of myth, but a remnant from a time when dinosaurs, perhaps even dragon-like species, still roam the earth. Imagine if these creatures were discovered. Would they confirm that dragons were real? Or are we being kept in the dark by those who want to maintain control over our perception of history? So how much of the truth is buried under layers of mystery, and how much is simply speculation? While the fossil record reveals creatures that might have inspired the dragon myths, it also is possible that we haven't uncovered everything there is to find. Some paleontologists believe that the bones of dragon-like creatures are simply not where we expect them to be. Could it be that certain ancient creatures were buried in remote, unexplored areas of the earth? Areas that powerful organizations want to keep off limits? Or perhaps we're being misled. Could the idea of dragons have been a tool for control, a way to manipulate and distract civilizations with myths while something more extraordinary was happening in the background? Kind of like an ancient civilization black swan. So where does that leave us? Were dragons real, or were they simply the product of our imagination and culture's need for mythic creatures? Could they have survived into modern times, only to be hidden away in remote corners of the earth by those who don't want us to know the truth? They did exist, and fossils provided DNA. Could they be brought back to life like the dire wolf and the woolly mammoths are today? The truth may be out there, buried in lost fossils, hidden artifacts, or covered up by secret organizations. As we look back on the evidence and the stories, one thing is clear. The mystery of dragons is far from over. So what do you think? Are dragons real? Could there be a cover-up hiding their existence from the public? As we wrap up this curious journey through fossilized clues, ancient myths, and the shadowy corners of conspiracy, I want to make something clear. I'm not here to convince you that dragons were real. In fact, I'm not entirely convinced myself. It is also not the topic I want to plant a flag on when it comes to what some may call woo-woo. But here's what I do believe, fiercely, boldly, and unapologetically. The ability to wonder, to explore, and to ask, what if, is one of the most powerful tools we have as human beings. In doing so, we remember, we restore, and we create anew. It's not about dragons. It's about the courage to think freely, to question accepted narratives, to entertain ideas without immediately accepting or rejecting them. That's how discovery happens. That's how creativity is born. That's how we grow. That is the path to discovering our capability and truth. So whether you leave this episode more skeptical or more curious, I hope you walk away reminded that it's okay to explore. It's okay to imagine. It's okay to suspend disbelief long enough to see the world a little differently. In fact, it's essential. Not just in mysterious tales of ancient creatures, but in every aspect of your life. The world today doesn't need more people who know all the answers. It needs more people brave enough to ask better questions. Thanks for joining me on this whimsical, slightly divergent flight of fiery creatures. Until next time, keep your eyes open, your mind curious, and never be afraid to follow the trail, even if it leads to a dragon. And as always, thank you for joining me and listening into the Stronghold Podcast.